Hi, good evening, everybody. This is Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas, the evening edition. So it's a two for Tuesday. We did the 11 a.m. Now we're doing the evening version. And let me get a better screen up here behind me to let you know what's going on. And we are two tired guys, Randy Cardoon and I. Randy, unfortunately, is under the weather, so he's not going to be with us tonight. He had a visit to his dentist, and he wasn't very gentle. He's still recovering from the Novocaine. I'm sure he is glad that I mentioned that for everybody. So he's not going to be with us tonight. But we had a great day. It was a car day for me. Not only did we do the 11 a.m. gas, but we moved on, and I was over with the famous pinstriper, Johnny Martinez, and we were doing some stuff over there. He was striping a truck for another person, and we talked cars and had some fun over there. Now, I like the fact that you're here. Thank you for joining us on the Evening Gas. This is going to be a weekly event. We're going to bring gas back. We can't go in studios anymore because of the COVID issue. So we're doing the next best thing, Zoom, and now we can have a studio audience. Once things clear up, though, the goal is to start doing this from the Murphy Museum in Oxnard, where we can actually have a studio audience as well as people tuning in here on Zoom. So we're glad you could be here. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, we now will broadcast this also on YouTube. Go to Two Tired Guys. That's T-O-O, Tired Guys. And you can see our past broadcasts and interviews from Talking About Cars. We're two shows now, as you can see from the banner behind me there. Gas and Talking About Cars. So we keep things going. Randy's show, Talking About Cars, also appears on KNX 1070 radio. But please like and share us on YouTube as well. And welcome to the show. We got Richard over here. How you doing, Richard? And you got yourself muted, Richard. Let's see if I can unmute you here.
I got it.
You got it. All right. And we've got Cassie Nunez here. And Cassie's one of our regulars on the morning show, as is Richard. And, we've got some car things. Now, Cassie, you were part of a great cruise this past weekend that we were also part of, put on by the Road Kings Car Club. What'd you think about that cruise with over 140 cars?
I think it was awesome. Much better organized than the first one, and I can't wait for the next one.
All right, so they're going to keep doing this. I call them antivirus cruises because it's, the virus is keeping us from going to car shows. So we're going to be against that virus, and we're going to have some fun. Richard, what have you been doing lately? You got that T-Bucket behind. Well, is that a T-Bucket or is that a Dodge behind us?
It's a Dodge.
Okay.
I'm a Mopar nut.
Hey, I understand that completely. I'll bring my Mopar up too, as long as we're talking Mopars here.
It's a 318 3.2s Mustang 5-speed.
Oh,
8 3/4.
That is plenty.
I put 75,000 miles on it.
Wow, that's a driver. I love it. Yeah,
I've drove it to Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, Nevada, up to Reno.
Now, where are you calling in from?
Oh my gosh.
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso. Okay, I used to pass through El Paso on a regular basis. I used to work in Dallas, and I would drive out to California about once every 2-3 months. I had to go right past there.
Right.
And
real close to the house.
Oh, okay. And Cassie, you're from Simi Valley area?
Thousand Oaks.
Thousand Oaks.
Yeah.
Okay, and then up in the far corner, I think I know where you live.
No, you don't.
And for those of you watching this now, because you're watching the recorded version, because you didn't log in with us, which was free, that's my wife, Peg, and we're social distancing. She's in the living room, and I'm in the office, and she likes it that way sometimes. Sometimes, though, she gets stuck in the car with me, and we ended up having to talk. It's a real interesting concept that we've worked out, and it happens quite a bit. But the Road Kings cruise was great this weekend, like Cassie said. Over 140 cars entered, and we cruised by the first responder locations in the city of Burbank. There were a number of those, and we went by, and we split the group into 4 sections because we knew people were going to get cut off and not make traffic lights. But by doing that, we were able to bring everyone together. We ended up at the world-famous Bob's Big Boy in Toluca Lake, where everyone could get their double burgers or what have you. Right there, car hop service was available. And for the first time since the virus issues had begun, they opened up the dining room. So people were able to go inside and eat. They had plenty of room for people, and they did enjoy a Bob's Big Boy burger. And this is the last of the original Bob's Big Boy restaurants still operating, and it still has car hop service Friday, Saturday nights, and all day, I can say, actually on Saturday. Now, Richard, have you been going to any events of late?
By myself.
By yourself, huh? Anything, no one's.
Nobody's doing nothing here in El Paso.
Well, hopefully we can convince people to start doing stuff like this. I mean, it's
You
fun.
don't- You don't need anyone. Just get in your car and go.
I put about every other day or so, I'll put 50, 75 miles on my T-bucket, just riding around through pecan trees and onion fields in the Upper Valley.
Okay.
Having fun.
Well,
At night, I do mine at late in the afternoon because right now it's 98 degrees.
Oh, yeah. See, that's one of the reasons I actually left Texas is it's a lot cooler out here in Southern California where we are. Today, the high was 68 degrees.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can understand.
That's good T-bucket weather.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And we've got a guy, Bill Moropoulos, who actually drives his T-bucket.
Oh, I know him. He
You know
is so cool. Oh, yeah. We belong to the same National T-bucket Alliance.
Right.
Yeah, we was up in Prescott back in June.
Yeah,
June.
Bill's a great guy. I've known him for over 30 years. But you know what? Until he built his T-bucket, I'd never seen him without a helmet on because he was a racer. And he was a racer at LA County Raceway where I worked for 20 years, and I met him back then. But now, you're talking about T-bucket. You brought up the T-bucket Alliance. This is the latest issue of Rotting USA. And it's just hitting the newsstands now. And on page 28, I'm really excited about this because I am now one of the contributing editors for the magazine. And what did I pick for the story? T-buckets. So I did a whole story on T-buckets, my two favorite, Tommy Ivo and Norm Grabowski's cars. And John from T-buckets, tbuckets.com, tbucketplans.com, he helped me get some information, and the photographs came from him as well.
I got a good story about old Norm.
Okay.
At the T-bucket Nationals in Mountain Home, Arkansas. That's where he lived up there in Mountain Home.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I drove a little old Geo up there. 3-cylinder 5-speed Geo.
Yep.
And I was walking out of the motel room, get in the car. He come up beside me. He said, "My God," he said, "nobody should go to the T-bucket Nationals in a Geo."
Yeah,
So I rode around with him all weekend in his truck, that big old truck.
Oh yeah, the Henway.
Yeah, he said, "Come with me."
Yeah, he was a character. He and Tommy Ivo didn't live too far from each other here in Southern California. And Tommy was a member of the same car club I am, the Road Kings, who put on this cruise this last weekend. And the stories that those two would say, you couldn't put them together for very long. It was a comedy skit all day long. We had them the first big car show that the Road Kings did. Tommy and Norm were the judges for the T-bucket class. And the guys that were walking around with them, they started having a group follow them because it was a comedy routine every car they saw. And throughout the day, they were just nuts together. It was crazy. Tommy's still active, doesn't have a T-bucket anymore, but his Norm's car was just restored by Roy Brizio, and they showed it at the Grand National Roadster Show.
Yeah, I ran into you out there at the Grand National Roadster Show. I know you've seen 658,000 people, so you don't remember it, but
pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, I got to see. I got a picture with Tommy.
Okay.
And I got a picture of my hero, old Gene Winfield.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dang, man, he's still clicking along.
He's still clicking along. He has to go in for double hernia surgery, but he had an infection, so they sent him home yesterday. So now they've got to wait till they clear the infection to get him back in for that, and he's hoping that happens relatively soon. They just figured a few days delay, and then they'll bring him in on that. You
It's
you saw
funny.
Tommy at the Grand Nationals. You were over in the over probably close to the Road King's booth, where
Yeah,
he.
I remember. Yeah, I remember. I guess that's right there at the booth is where I run in you at.
Could have been,
I
yeah.
think.
I was
Yeah,
hanging around there too for some time.
yeah.
Well, it's funny you guys are talking about that because I went to the Grand National Roadster Show for the first time this year.
Wow.
And I've been to a lot of car shows, but that just blew my mind at the size of it. It
Yeah,
was
it's an awesome
really
show.
awesome.
Yeah, the Grand National Roadster Show was a great show. It started live as the Oakland Roadster Show, and it outgrew the Oakland Auditorium that it was started out in 19, I think it was 1951. Uh, John Buck purchased the rights to the show, and about 15 years ago, I believe, brought it down to Los Angeles, and it has grown tremendously. This coming year, John Buck is doing a specialty, the specialty building they used to have. This year, or for 2021, it's going to be Volkswagens. So hot VWs would dominate in this building. It'll be drag cars, show cars, custom cars, restored, but all Volkswagens and all 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder Volkswagens as they came from. Some with racing lineage, some with car show lineage. I'm sure there's going to be some kit cars there too, because there's a plethora of kit cars built on Volkswagen chassis. So building 9, I believe it is going to be all Volkswagens,
Wow.
which is going to be real interesting.
Nice.
It was just good. It was a great show. That was my second year. I was year 4 last too.
I started going to it the last show in Oakland, and I was amazed. That was like they say, it's the granddaddy of them all, but it had such a reputation. I had to go see it. So I drove up to Oakland from Southern California for the last show that they had at the Oakland Auditorium. And a buddy of mine, Mike Bishop, who worked for American Rodder magazine at the time, had built a Model A. And they used a reproduction steel body, put it on a real Model A frame. They boxed the frame, a built flathead motor. They wrote a book on how to build an AV8, and he won his class at the Grand National Roadster Show with it. And I got to give a plug to my wife over here in the corner. She won with her car at the Grand National Roadster Show 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so girl power. So she did it, and she did quite well. And the car right behind her, see it up on the wall. That's our living room. We have a big picture canvas of our 2 cars, or 2 of our cars, up there, and we cruise those things. And she had the distinction. We were on our way to Irwindale for a cruise night one time, and I was following her. This McLaren pulls up on the freeway. Now he's alongside me in the right lane. I gave him room to get over, and I look down, and it's Jay Leno, and he's giving me the thumbs up. He gets in between me, goes over to Peg, and all she can see is the McLaren and a thumb. Because
That's awesome.
Because he was on the opposite side of the car. So, when we got to Irwindale, I said, "Did you see Jay Leno?" She says, "No, where?" I said, "He was the guy in the yellow McLaren that gave you the thumbs up." I could see it through the back window. But anyway, so, we saw that. But her 48 or 46 Ford is still flathead powered. It's all Henry parts. And it's got Edelbrock heads, dual carbs. It's a driver, and it's fun. A friend of ours, Don Grant, who was one of the Rotters reps for Good Guys when we were Rotters reps, built the car, and she saw it at the Grand National Roadster Show about 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago. Wasn't it, Peg?
Yeah, about 4 now.
And she liked the car. I looked at it. She looked at it. Found out Don had built it. We went over to his house, and she bought it. It's one of those things. Before we got married, she had her own hot rod. It was a qualification.
No, it wasn't. Guys already had a Falcon, so
Yeah. Well,
There you go.
I had a Falcon convertible, so I sold that and bought this one.
Yeah. Now she and I both.
So when are you getting a Chevy?
We have the Chevy, the 56.
Well, no, I mean her, not you.
She has a Corvette.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she's got the blue Corvette.
Okay. Bow
So-
ties till I die, okay?
Well, see,
We
we're
speak all car languages, okay?
we're bilingual when it comes to cars. We have Fords, we have Lincoln, we have
There's
Mercury.
colors or anything in cars.
Yeah, we got all the
They're
brands.
created equal.
As a matter of fact, Cassie, if you'd seen the back window of our wagon, we have all the car brands displayed that we own. Now, most people put the picture of the husband and the wife and the kids.
Yeah.
We put the car brands. And I'll tell you what, I can't bring that up right now because it's on my phone. But that's what we did. It's on the back of our car. But we've got multiple cars, and I'm so bilingual with cars. My Plymouth has a Chevy engine.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
It does have Mopar valve covers on it.
no, that's even worse.
Yeah, and the reason being is the Chevy fit without cutting up sheet metal, whereas the Mopar was just a little too wide.
Well, you know what they say. They say how to make a Ford run. You put a Chevy engine in it.
Well, you got to go back in history, and we've talked about this. The way you got a Ford to run fast was using, they called it a Frontenac or a Fronty Ford. That was the Chevrolet Brothers company, and they built racing engines based on Ford Model T and Model A blocks. And they won Indianapolis with a Fronty Ford. So it was a Ford-powered Indy race car, and they won Indy driving it. Gaston was driving the car and won Indianapolis with a Ford-powered car. The first Ford-powered car, of course, it was Chevrolet modified with an overhead valve conversion, but they won Indianapolis. Now, to add insult to injury, the engineers that designed or helped design the Model T were the Dodge brothers.
Right.
And they did the production. And they are actually the guys that produced Overflow. When Ford ran out of capacity, the Dodge brothers had a plant of their own, and they were building Model Ts for Henry. So yeah, there's a lot of intermixing of car brands and such. I mean, even Carroll Shelby, he got started with the Cobra, which was a British car with a Ford engine that he put in it. But he later went to work for Chrysler and the Shelby Chargers and a series of Shelby badged cars from Chrysler when Lee Iacocca moved from Ford over to Chrysler. So it's a lot of that goes on and still goes on. And the tie's been, at one time Ford owned Jaguar, a portion of Mazda, and Volvo.
It just seems like people like to skip around, don't they?
Well, a lot of things, and that's been going on since the 20s. That even the Japanese did it. Now, I worked for Nissan at one point in time, and one of their first cars was called the DOT, D-A-T. That car was followed by a car called the Datsun, or the son of Dot. That car was on license through Austin of Great Britain. At that point in time, Great Britain was the manufacturing power in cars. So Japanese made their version of the Austin 7 and called it the Datsun. BMW made a version of the Austin 7 and they called it a Dixie. And then in the U.S. we had it as well, and it was an Austin, American Austin. But they were all on license from Great Britain. So there's a lot of intermixing of brands and such. But Horace and his brother, they didn't really last very long, actually. After they merged or started the Dodge Motor Corporation, which was very successful, they both died of the flu within 6 months of each other. And their wives sold the family interest of the company to Chrysler, and that's how they became part of Chrysler or became part of Mopar. So there's a lot of inter-family mixing of the cars.
that's right. We like them all.
Richard, tell me a little bit more about your cars. Is it got a turtle deck or a tank in the back, or
No, nothing, just a tank.
just a tank?
A round tank I got from Speedway.
Okay,
Yeah.
that looks good from the front.
It's hand painted. Rattle cans.
Oh, looks good.
Not a problem. Nothing wrong with rattle can. My coupe that I just had on the screen, the doors and the fenders are rattle can.
Yeah, I built that for less than $6,000.
Oh, it's the way to do it. Yeah, I did the same thing.
Everything on it's the most expensive part on the car is the bell housing.
Really?
I got it from QuickTime. They're out
Okay.
of Tennessee, and they'll make a bell housing to fit anything to anything. And I had to have a bell housing fit that 318 to a T5.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Mopar don't have a T5.
No.
Yeah, they don't.
So I think it cost me $600.
Wow.
for the
But
bell housing.
that's got to make that thing very drivable. Now, are you using
Yeah.
the S10 5-speed?
No, I wish, but I got a good deal on it. It was out of a 96 sergeant out of Fort Bliss that's here in El Paso, was putting a 6-speed in his Mustang, and he sold it to me for $150.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
No,
Can't beat that.
no, it's and like the engine. I bought the engine from a guy in Albuquerque. It's in Mopar Club
Uh-huh.
for $300 and had a 750 dual line Holly on it and air gap intake. I
Wow.
sold that traded it 150. Guy gave me $150 and a flywheel and pressure plate for the intake.
There you go.
go.
Hot rod
Well-
ingenuity at its best.
Well, I'm building a 27-piece sedan right now,
Oh, okay.
and
So I have to ask, do you consider your car rat rod then? Because it's, cobbled together?
no, I just call it a hot rod. I don't.
That's how it was then. It wasn't a rat rod.
No, it's something I would have built if I grew up in Indiana and spent most of my adult life, well, not most of it, but 24 years of it in the Army.
Yeah.
And it's something I would have built but you didn't have open cars in Indiana much.
No. So, did you build it after you moved to Texas?
Yeah, I built it after I retired. I started building it in 2005 and finished it got it licensed. And I got it licensed, titled, and inspected and everything in May of 2011. My son-in-law flew out here from Indiana, and we drove back to Indiana in June.
Very cool.
Oh, the bugs.
And the rain,
Oh, yeah.
430 miles in the rain.
Oh, gee. And you don't have a top on that either, do you?
Anyway, it was fun.
That was an adventure, I can imagine.
I rode around on tanks for 24 years. But I'm building a 27 sedan right now.
All right. Tell us about it.
I call it a Mopar in Ford clothing
Okay.
because everything's Mopar in it. And it's an old, you remember the polyhead Mopar engine?
Sure.
Well, that's what it's got in it.
Okay.
A 318 polyhead, and I got 2 4s. Well, I got 2 4 intake, but I put those Offenhauser cross ram adapters,
Oh, okay.
and I'm running 2 Motorcraft 2 barrels on them.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's different.
It's about 550 CFM, so that's not
Yeah.
too bad.
And I got a Mopar 4-speed in it that's got 4 gears overdrive. That one they built
Oh,
late
yeah.
70s, early 80s.
Yeah, in the Valaris.
Yeah, and the trucks. They had them in
Yep.
trucks too. And I got 8 3/4 rear end, 355 gear.
Okay.
So I'm putting air in this one. I found out that real hot rods in Texas have air.
Yeah. Yeah, you got. Now, are you going to run it fenderless or full fender?
No, real hot rods don't have fenders.
Okay, there we go. What are you using for a chassis?
Homemade. It's,
Homemade. All right.
Yeah, basically the same chassis that the T-Bucket's got.
Okay.
But I'm running quarter elliptic springs in the front.
Oh, okay.
And because the guy that's helping me build it's built sprint cars.
Okay.
So it's got a cowl steering with
Oh,
sprint car
okay.
steering. And it's got quarter elliptics, and it's got the old Dodge. Remember 35 Dodge axles that were kind of wavy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got one of those on it.
That's good.
And Dodge steering. But I'm putting, and one thing, I'm looking for a good painter. And the best ones in El Paso are in Juarez. You may have heard of them, Street Toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gene Winfield come over here back in September, August or September, and painted a car for some doctor, a 57 Cadillac Eldorado that he had brought to Street Toys to paint. And I may take it there.
Okay.
I can get it, yeah.
What color are you going to paint it?
Well, you know, I like Army green. That got voted out.
Oh,
Well, I'm building this one for my wife.
okay.
So she'll drive or go to Indiana,
There you go.
or Florida or wherever. But
Girls
it's got
want diamonds. Girls want cars.
We're the
reclining
unusual kind, Cassie.
bucket seats,
Okay.
air,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
All the good
GPS
stuff.
systems, all the good stuff in this one.
And you'll have room for the luggage.
Well, I'm making the back seat because grandkids. You know,
Okay.
got to haul the grandkids around too. Of course,
Yeah, understand that. That's why we've got the sedans we've got.
yeah.
It's a 4-door sedan, and it'd be perfect when the grandkids come around. And my Plymouth's a coupe with the back seat, so it's we've got a room for the family. Then
Yeah.
we've got the wagon when
I know.
things get heavy.
I was out at a guy's house last week sometime. He's got a 61 Studebaker Lark 2-door wagon.
Ooh,
Oh,
those are nice.
with V8 and a 3-speed on the column.
Really? All right. So it's got
Yeah,
it's got the Studebaker 289 then.
yeah. And it's just sitting in a field. Oh, man. I can't have another project. Not yet.
Yeah, those are cool cars. We have a friend in another car club we belong to. Last year, a couple of years ago, got rid of a 1955 Studebaker 2-door wagon. They had originally built for his wife, and I'm going, oh, I wish I could have gotten that at the time because it was nice, but it was all updated: disc brakes, air conditioning, power steering. Put a Mustang 2 front end in it, so it drove a little bit better. Had a Ford 9-inch in the back. It was just all done nice. It was a two-tone beige and brown. It just looked really clean from the outside, and it was a great cruising machine. But I didn't have the room or the time or the money, so it went down the road. I'm sorry?
Was that the black one at Coachman?
No, this was a two-tone beige lower section, brown roof.
Oh, okay.
And it was up, no, it was up north. It was up in Lompoc.
Oh, okay.
So
Definitely not.
he would come down here occasionally with it, but he sold it and went up north. It stayed up north when he sold it. But cruising is fine. It doesn't matter what you got, whether it's a Studebaker, a Chevrolet, or a Mopar. And yeah, I liked, to be honest, I built my Mopar after I saw Gary Metter's coupe that he had built. And so that was 36 years ago that I built the coupe, and I've been driving it since. The only thing I changed besides making it a hot rod was I took the flathead out after about 12 years of driving with a flathead and put the V8 in. It made it a little bit more reliable. The flathead was running fine. There was no problems with it, but I was working for Good Guys at the time and driving up to Northern California on a regular basis. And if something did happen, finding parts for the flathead on the road was almost impossible. So that's why I changed to the V8. And initially I had a 350 transmission. About 4 years ago, I put an overdrive in it. So it's got an overdrive automatic, a 200R. So it cruises.
That's a good transmission.
nice. Yeah, and a guy here locally built it. It's really smooth and just does the job. As a matter of fact, I was talking with Johnny Martinez, who's a pinstriper, and I'm going, well, we got to take the car out of the garage. It hasn't been out of the garage since September. And it was running kind of poorly when we came back from a car show in September. And I realized that I hadn't changed the spark plug wires in over 20 years, and the spark plugs in 5 years, and the distributor cap in 20 years since I'd put the engine in. I figured, maybe it was time. So I changed the cap.
Important.
Yeah, so I changed the cap, the rotor, the plugs, and the wires, and it fired right up. So I think the problem is resolved with that, but I got to get it out on the road. I haven't had it on, like I said, even though I did those things. I haven't had it on the road yet. So we got to get it out of the garage and get Peg's car out of the garage. We're going to do an all V8 Ford cruise on June
Well, that's
20th.
cool.
We're going to get the early V8 Ford Club together. We're going to have their first meeting since March because of the COVID issue. They haven't been able to get together. So what we're going to do is we've got a big parking lot outside our garage. We're going to have everyone come there. We'll have the barbecue going. If anyone wants to barbecue something, it's going to be potluck, bring your own stuff, and it'll be a Ford cruise that we're going to get as many cars as we can together, cruise around the Ventura area where we live, and then end up at our garage. So that's the goal at this point.
Now I got plans if everything comes back to semi-normal of coming out to Pomona in November for the finals
Okay.
if they run them.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the drag strips are starting to open up. Irwindale, where I normally work, opens up this weekend. So they're
Cool.
getting that going, but the stipulation is no spectators. They can have one crew person per car plus the driver, and they're limiting it to 100 cars right now. But they're also going to have junior dragsters, so I don't know how they're going to limit that because normally there's 100 junior dragsters that show up.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they've
at
got a
this
regular.
point, too, at Irwindale, the Nitro Revival will be in November.
Yeah, Nitro Revival coming up too, where Steve Gibbs, who used to be the vice president of tech for NHRA, was part. He's the guy that started the hot rod reunions. He left NHRA a few years ago and came up with an idea. Let's bring it back to basics, and he started the Nitro Revival. This will be Nitro Revival number 4. We'll have some racing. It'll be just exhibition runs. And last year they had over 40 Top Fuel cars firing up and cackling throughout the day.
When is this?
I believe it's November 11th,
6 and 7.
6th and 7th. Okay.
6 and 7. That's the week before the finals.
Yep.
Right. But
Yeah, 'cause the
depending
finals-
on if NHRA doesn't go, you can do that. If hopefully if everything
Well, I'm planning on
and
what
we're
I'm
able
planning
to-
on doing is coming out and going Saturday to El Mirage. That Saturday's El Mirage.
Yeah, check on that. They've just canceled some of their events. I don't know if they've canceled all of them for the year.
Oh, I hope not.
They had to cancel the one that's coming up.
Yeah, I knew they canceled it.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff. Most of the car shows that we would normally go to have been canceled or postponed until spring or fall. So
Well, they're gonna do the Hot Rodder Union in Bowling Green in August.
we hope so, because if you get there, please come up to the tower and say hello, because
Oh, you going?
I'm normally the announcer there.
Are you? I've been to that twice.
Okay. Well, I'm the guy.
Last,
I'm the guy up there chatting at you all day long. So
Does anyone know about SEMA? If that's going to be
at this point, SEMA is on schedule, but they haven't been told what the restrictions are yet. So depending on what happens with that, they will let us know. We had Wayne Kawasaki, the vice president of that, over at the garage the other day, and we were talking to him about that. At this point, they're going at it as if it's going to happen, but no one knows what the restrictions are going to be in November. It may be wide open. We don't know.
Yeah.
The strip has opened up. The gambling has opened back up again. That's going to dictate pretty much how everything else in Vegas goes. But at this point, they're giving the exhibitors until September to either get a refund or delay their entry until 2021. But at this point, SEMA 2020 is on schedule. They're just not sure how it's going to play out yet.
Yeah. I went to the Hot Rod reunion in Bakersfield last time they had it. That's pretty cool.
Yep, and I've been the announcer there for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I've been
doing
doing
a good job.
I try, I've been doing that for NHRA. I've been there for all of the 26 they've done, except one I missed. But the first 5 years I was just one of the spectators, and then Bob Fry got called away to do a race at Englishtown, and I replaced him. He never came back. I don't know.
Huh.
Are
I
you
pissed him off.
the announcer for everything?
I try. I tried, but Bob Fry and I end up working together. We now do the hot rod reunions together, both California and Bowling Green. So we become friends. There was no animosity. He had to do English Town that got rained out the week before, and they rescheduled it for the same weekend as the hot rod reunion. So he had to go there. He comes back out, and he and I do the Cackle Fests. So we work together, and I like Bob. He's great. He's got a wealth of information and the history of NHRA and drag racing in general.
I like Bowling Green.
Yeah, what I like about Bowling Green is the grandstands are always covered. You sit in the shade no matter how hot it is.
And
Now,
humid.
and humid. Yeah, Peg works the T-shirt booth at Bowling Green. And one year it was raining, and she was joking about
Yeah.
how high the humidity was, and said, "Look, the T-shirts are sweating. It's so hot."
That was the year I drove my T-bucket back to Indiana.
Oh, gee. Okay. Yeah, that was a wet year.
Cause me and my son-in-law got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's just because he only lives 70 miles. He lives right across the river, Indiana, from right across from Fort Knox, Kentucky. But anyway, it's raining. We called down there. Oh yeah, they're gonna run. They're gonna run. I think he started running about 10 o'clock that morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was there was a hot, humid day. The only benefit for me is I'm in the air-conditioned building. However, on Saturday, the air conditioning quit. So I didn't have air conditioning and no air circulation. But hey, I'm used to it. We do it. We just keep on doing it. So Cassie, what's happening with your Chevelle that's been down?
Well, we had some issues with the brakes, but we got that going. I have brakes again, which is important
Yeah,
as I'm told, It's good to stop.
that is. It is. Now, you just had a whole lot of work done on there. Was it related to what was done?
No. So what happened was we took the original disc brakes from 68 and we took them off and put on new disc brakes. And there was, some issues with the fitment, with the lines. So I didn't have brakes for 2 days, but we cracked it open, we bled all the lines, checked the brakes, and now I'm good and I'm stopping again. So.
Oh, that's good. All right. So it's just a matter of getting the air out and such.
Yeah, just little adjustments.
Okay.
It didn't take long. It's just, it's hard because my dad is so busy at the shop
Yeah.
that I kind of have to go there when he's not busy, which is really rare.
Yes. Well, that's good. I'm glad he's busy. I'm glad his business is still going strong with all this. All right. So what's on tap for you, Cassie? What are you going to be doing next with the cars?
Oh, well, I had 4 car shows planned for this year, but with the coronavirus, they are all canceled. I'm moving everything to 2021, all of the donations, all the registration. It'll still be valid for next year, but besides that, I'm looking at maybe finally getting some new wheels.
Okay. What are you going to put on your car?
I want to find something a little more muscly. I have rallies, which are fine, but they're kind of normal and stock and boring. I want something like, torque thrust that, scream muscle car.
Okay.
So,
I like torque thrust.
they're good wheels. They're just so expensive.
Yeah. No. So that's on the agenda. That's your goal is to get a new set of wheels for it, huh?
Hopefully by the end of the year.
Okay, that's good.
I had to dial it back. The plan was to have them by summer, but then the coronavirus, the job, things kind of went up in the air. So.
Yep, understand that. All right, Peg,
Yes, sir.
what is on your agenda?
I don't know. What are we doing this weekend?
Well, all right. This weekend we're going on the Corvette tour. So we're gonna do a cruise through Ventura area up to Ojai, and then gather around for a social distancing lunch someplace up in the Ojai area, which is about 30 miles north of where we are. We're going to take an hour drive. I'm sorry?
Is that the Coachman Cruise?
No,
No,
this
this
is
is
the
for our
Ventura
Corvette
County
Club.
Corvette Club.
Oh, okay.
So Peg's got the Corvette, and I've got the Corvette. So we're gonna take mine out, and
Maybe both.
maybe both. We'll see.
That way I
We
can
do
drive
have both.
topless.
Yes, you can do that. Hers is a convertible. That's an idea. We could take both Corvettes out there. We both have Corvettes. Peg's was her daily driver until my HHR blew up, and then it became my daily driver. But mine has been the one that sits in the garage. It's the Garage Queen. It's a 1989 with 52,000 miles. So it's a low mileage car and done pretty good at some shows. But anyway, all right. Well, tell you what, we're going to wrap this up. We've been going for a while now. Again, I'm Hot Rod Bob. This is GAAS, the evening edition. Pick up a copy of Rodding USA. It's on the stands now. It's got my story on it, and I'm going to be the regular featured contributor to the magazine for the rest of the year. Hopefully they like the stuff for longer than that. But this will be the first story. It's a 2-pager on T-buckets and my recollection of what got me into hot rodding. Like us on Facebook. This will be on YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube right now, why not? Sign up for our YouTube channel. It's 2, as in T-O-O, Tired Guys. And let me get that up on the screen here. Let's see. There we go. There, 2 Tired Guys Productions. Ta-da! And we have our own YouTube page where we are posting our interviews from Talking About Cars, and now GAAS will go up there as well. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of this. And if you're watching it now on YouTube or Facebook, thanks. Sign up and see it. Join us next Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Richard, thank you very much for tuning in. Excuse me. Appreciate it. Love the Dodge. Been talking too much. Little dry throat. But thank you very much. Hope things are good there. Hope to see you at the Grand Nationals or in November when you come out. Give me a call, please.
Do that.
All right. Take care, folks. Yeah.
Do you ever go on those cruises, Bill? Texas T-bucket on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Every Sunday?
Yeah, we see Bill on the cars and the Wheels and Waves cruise down in Malibu, and he's always there early. I mean, I gave him a hard time. The last time I saw him was February. That was the last cruise they had, and he has electric gloves, electric socks, and an electric vest he wears.
What?
Because car has no top. It has no heater.
Yeah.
Some of us just shake.
Yeah. So at 40 degrees, he gets a little chilly, but he has to keep changing the batteries. So we gave him a hard time about that last time out. But yeah, if you talk to Bill at all, just tell him hello for me. But I see him on a regular basis. That T-bucket goes everywhere. I think in the first in the first 6 months he had it, he put 15,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I believe it.
Yeah, so he drives it. So, after seeing his T, and I've always wanted a T ever since Grabowski's was on Route 77 Sunset Strip, and then Tommy came out with his T. I've always wanted to build one, and I'm going, do I really need that Corvette? And but
Who knows?
who knows? So we'll talk about that.
I sold a 64 Falcon 5.0 and 5-speed in it to build the T-bucket.
Oh, well, we got a bunch of stuff we got to get rid of, but to do that, so they fit in the garage. But I just got to give a shout out to our sponsors today. It's Valley Head Service. Let's see, I don't know which way to move. Valley Head Service, Irwindale Drag Strip, Irwindale Speedway, Service Tech, Moon Eyes, Tucker Tire, and Beach Underwriting. They're here someplace. Let's see, I got to move the opposite way. Beach Underwriting Associates Motorsports. And hopefully we'll be traveling with Beach Underwriting up to Bonneville this year as he attempts to break the 300-mile-an-hour barrier with his car. He already holds the record at 258 miles an hour, but that was with the 1,500 horsepower engine. He now has 5,000 horsepower. So 300 is the mark. If he can do it, he will be the 5th Brit to break the 300-mile-an-hour barrier. So we're hoping to see that this August up in Bonneville. At this point, Bonneville is on. They've got all the permits. They're going for it. They're up there now grooming the salt, checking it out. And so far, everything is good. All right. So thank you very much, Richard, for tuning in. Cassie, as always, thank you for being here on GAAS. You are a true gasaholic. So thank you very much.
Bye.
All right. Tomorrow morning on Facebook, every morning, 11 a.m., Monday through Friday. Take care, folks. We'll be talking to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.